This is Belle with Pop Culture Uncovered, and we are here to talk about Sherlock. Let's talk about Toby Jones's teeth. Okay, yes, I know prosthetics are used to make people look creepy. However, somehow they have amped up Toby Jones's creepiness to a factor that I didn't know it could get to, and Toby Jones is pretty damn creepy in and of himself. So, this episode. Let's start with Culverton Smith, Toby Jones's character. Loud, tacky, really rich, seems to think he can do whatever he wants. Which is a problem when what he wants to do is murder. Seems about 3 years ago, his beautiful daughter Faith and his closest friends all gathered together to have a confessional of sorts. Culverton drugged them voluntarily because some people have no sense of self-preservation, and told them that he had killed somebody. Because the drug had a forget-me-not effect, they all blanked it out. Except for Faith. Which is why she shows up at Sherlock's doorstep. Now, the problem is, Sherlock is completely and utterly out of his damn head. It seems that having one of your best friends sacrifice herself for you, and the other one blame you for that death, pretty much destroys a person. Makes sense. It's a good thing Faith showed up, right? Got him out of the house. Got him on a case. Got him using that big old brain of his. She sure did show up in the nick of time, didn't she? Meanwhile, we have John Watson. And that is the real story of this episode. The episode does a really, really good job of showing how John is not just the heart of the show, but the heart of the Holmes family and their entire universe. And while I will stand by my original assessment that the previous episode was in fact set up for plot for this season, and I'm not happy that we lost Mary to get here, I will say the episode shows how much John is holding these people together. It is amazing how one person just completely shutting down, withdrawing from themselves, from the world around them, changes things. Changes everything. Mycroft, surprisingly, or unsurprisingly really, is in a tizzy. He's holding himself together by the skin of his teeth and through protocol. Sherlock obviously has fallen apart. Mrs. Hudson is at the end of her rope completely, and is the real MVP of this episode, hands down. And it just does a really good job of showing just how important one person can be to a family unit, to a group of people. So, I really wish Mary hadn't had to die to get us to this point. I think we've emphasized over the previous 3 or 4 seasons that John is pretty much the heart of the show. So I don't know if necessarily Mary dying was needed to emphasize it. However, had she not died, John would not have been as emotionally vulnerable and hurt and so easily accessible, for lack of a better term, as he is in this episode. And it's one of those things that I still think they could have gotten there with the theory that we discussed in the previous review. I think they could have gotten there, and that in and of itself would have been an interesting story had he been in this emotional state and both Mary and Sherlock were alive to deal with it, and deal with the fallout of their choices, putting John in a situation that makes him so vulnerable. But we're here now, and this episode in and of itself is phenomenal. It doesn't make up for the previous episode. It doesn't make up for the writing of the previous episode, but it is so well done that it's damn close, to be honest. It's very close. So, I said all that to say this. Spoilers. Okay, again, spoilers, 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 spoilers. Okay? Sherlock Holmes. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the books, originally Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was going to name Sherlock Sherlock. Obviously, that did not happen. But when William S. Baring-Gould wrote a fictional biography of Sherlock and the Holmes family as a whole, he hypothesized that there had to have been another brother. His reasoning behind that is the way English society was set up at that time, and in some cases still today, there is no way that an eldest brother would be able to do the things that Mycroft does, because he would have been expected to take over the estate and the holdings, and therefore run that estate and run those holdings of his family, especially with the amount of money that the Holmes seem to have. So, that being the case, there had to have been another brother. Sherlock was this fictional brother. Now, we find out in this episode that Sherlock very much is a real character in this universe who is super smart. In fact, probably smarter than Mycroft and Sherlock. Is psychotic and is also a woman. Yeah. And that woman has been stalking John Watson since the beginning of the season, worming her way into his life one way or another, getting close to him at his most vulnerable, and all for the express purpose of God knows what, because we don't know. I will honestly say that this is the first time in the history of this series that I was genuinely terrified watching an episode. Once I realized what was happening, which was pretty much around the same time that John realized what was happening, I'm not going to kid you, I was screaming at the television going, get out of the house. It was like a horror movie. Get out. Just go. Just run. Get out. But by that point, it was too late. Sherlock is there for who knows what reason. We know that she's fascinated with John. More importantly, she's fascinated with, Sherlock / Euros. Because one of those names is the real name and one of them isn't. We're not sure which. She's fascinated with John. She's fascinated with the hold that he unknowingly has over the other Holmes siblings and how their dynamic revolves around him. And we don't know what her end game is. We are in completely new territory. There are no books to reference here. There is nothing. We've got nothing to go off of. We don't know. With Moriarty, we at least had an idea of where things were going. We didn't know how it was going to get there. Here, we're in new ground. And this could honestly go either way. This could be the series finale type of way that this goes. That's how legit scary this episode was. John Watson is in a lot of danger. And I don't know, for the first time ever in this series, if he's going to come out of it alive. Going into the actual performances in the episode, while I do appreciate some over-the-top crazy, and Benedict Cumberbatch and Una Stubbs and Tommy Lee Jones truly give us some over-the-top, fantastic performances. The real standouts are Cian, Brooke, and Martin Freeman. Brooke does such a terrifying turn. It is nuanced. It is spine chilling. It is truly scary. For the first time ever watching the show, I was scared for them. For John specifically, but for everyone. I was genuinely terrified because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how this plays out. We are in new territory here. So that was the first thing. And then Martin Freeman gives such a heartbreaking study in all-encompassing grief and guilt and just pain. And every moment, every look, every turn is just so upsetting. I never want to imagine what John is going through. And just watching it makes me hurt. It is such a fantastic performance. It hurts you on a very fundamental level. You feel his grief. You are a part of his grief. So, the questions are, A, can Gaddis and Moffat bring it all home? B, is Euros truly Sharonford, or is Sharonford a place, or is Euros and Sharonford one and the same person, or is Euros just, there is no Sharonford, Euros is the third home sibling? What is the end game here? Is Euros going to kill John? Is she going to keep him? I truly think that the drug that we saw at the beginning of the episode that Toby Jones's character gave to his family and friends is going to come into play. It just, he plays too prominent of a part not to. And is Moriarty still alive? And is he the one that put Euros onto Culverton Smith? And is he the one that kind of got those two pieces together? I don't know. I am truly intrigued, especially after that super disappointing first episode. So, I'm here. I just hope that they can bring it home. I'm not sure if they can. We shall see. Anyway, this is Belle with Pop Culture Uncovered. And you can find us at Pop Culture Uncovered on Facebook, popcultureuncovered.com, PC Uncover on Twitter and Instagram, and Pop Culture Uncovered on Tumblr. Thank you, and